Hello guys, welcome back. Hope you all are good. So from this video we are going to learn a new chapter, chapter 4, and we are going to learn principle of inheritance and variations. In that I'm just going to give you guys a pre-introduction about what are genes and what are alleles. So let's get started. So let us start with the basic, what is heredity first. So look at the picture here. If you look at the picture, you can see it's a family. They have two children. So the when you look at the traits or characters of the child, you can see that the daughter has inherited her father's hair color. Likewise, the son also has inherited his mother's color, hair color. Okay, likewise, they might have also inherited eye color, skin color, and these are what we call traits. So, how these characters are being passed out and how it is being passed on from the parents to the child is what we call hereditary, and it is sometimes called inheritance or biological inheritance. So, in simple, the traits, the characters, observable characters which I told you, will be passed on from the parents to the offsprings. So how does it pass down? It passed down through reproduction. So we have different types of reproduction when we talk about organisms. We have asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, we know that it doesn't show much variation because typical same organisms will multiply or divide or split into two individual organisms or multiple organisms, which we have already learned. But when you talk about sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. Since two parents are involved, there will be a lot of variations. So this I have already told you why such variations in my first chapter itself. So in simple, in heredity, the offsprings, the child, say for example in the picture we have a child here, the child cells will acquire, which means they will obtain genetic information from their parents. This is what we call heredity. So what is responsible for this transmission of this genetic characteristic? So எது பேரண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட இருந்து சைல்டுக்கு அந்த ட்ரைட்ஸ் பாஸ் பண்ணதுன்னு பார்த்தோன்னா அது கோட் பண்ணுறது இல்லை அதுக்கு ஒவ்வொரு அப்சர்வபிள் ட்ரைட்ஸ் அண்ட் கேரக்டர்ஸ் வர்றதுக்கு ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள் எதுன்னு சொன்னோன்னா we have genes. So let us study about genes first. So where they are located and simple basics. Fine. So let us just see where these genes are located. For that, let's just recollect what we learned in our earlier classes. So when you take a cell, any somatic cells, inside the somatic cells we have nucleus. Inside the nucleus we have chromosomes. Again, depending upon the organisms, the number of chromosomes varies, which you already know. Then, when we observe each and every chromosome, when you observe too close, you can see that chromosome is completely made up of DNA and also wrapped around with proteins. So when you observe this DNA too closely, so particular portion of the DNA, segments or part of the DNA or genes that codes for the traits. So now we know that we have a cell. Inside a cell we have a nucleus. Inside the nucleus we have chromosomes. Different number of chromosomes varies depending upon the organisms, and each chromosome pairs are homologous in nature, and all these chromosomes are made up of DNA and protein. And if you observe closely, the DNA is simply some part or segments of the DNA or genes that will code for the DNA specific trait. So now we know this. So let us talk about little bit about the number of chromosomes. I have given here an human example. So in humans we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, which means each chromosome, this is a one pair of chromosomes. Likewise, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. All of them are homologous in nature, which means this one is from the mother and this one is from the father. Both will carry same type of genes and same type of information. Okay, likewise all the chromosomes are same except the 23rd pair chromosome. which will be different slightly because one will be X and another one will be Y. This determines the sex of the child or organisms. So where how this 23 pairs of chromosomes been obtained? The parent. So you all know that in my first video I told you about a meiosis process, and I also told you that almost all the cells except the gamete cells are nothing but the egg and sperm of an organism. So if in the case of male we have sperm, in the case of female we have egg. So except these gamete cells, all the somatic cells means our body cells, all contains 46 chromosomes, but these two cells, which means the sex cells, they will contain only 23 pairs of or 23 chromosomes, so that when they both combine they form 23 pairs of chromosomes. So how this is formed, I have already explained you through meiosis process, remember. And also when you talk about somatic cells, all undergo mitotic cell division and this undergo meiosis cell division. So they so 23 chromosome from the parent mother and 23 chromosome from the father, they both unite and form 46 chromosome or 23 pairs of chromosomes. So each chromosome, say for example here chromosome 1 and here chromosome 1, both will contain same type of information. Okay, so that is why we call them homologous chromosomes, right? Now then after that it just undergoes cleavage and a lot of stages are there, then a baby formed. So now you know like how we obtain the 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs of chromosomes from the organisms in the case of organisms that do sexual reproduction. So let us just see in detail about gene. Okay, so where the what is exactly this gene and where it is located, and and what is allele, all these things. Okay, so if you look at the picture, so we'll start with the cell. As I told you, all the somatic cells and almost nearly all the cells in our body will contain, except gamete cells. Forget about the gamete cells. So all the cells will contain 46 chromosomes. So if you take each chromosome, they are homologous in nature. So this chromosome, as I told you, they are condensed and packed very tightly, and this condensed material is actually DNA. So what do we call DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acids. And this DNA is wrapped around the proteins and form chromosomes. So when you observe the DNA a little too closer, then you can find out the portions of certain specific portions of DNA. Say for example here and this particular portion, and from this to this particular segment is a gene that code for, say for example, this portion code for hair color, and this particular segment, this particular part code for eye color. So likewise in a chromosome we'll have more than one or two three types of genes that will code for specific trait. So as I told you here, this particular segment of the DNA is a gene that code for hair color. Likewise here we have a gene that code for eye color. So likewise we have different types of genes present in a homologous chromosomes. Remember, this one is from the father and this one is from the mother. So we get, remember, 23 chromosomes from the father and 23 chromosomes from the mother, and both are same, right? Remember, so I hope you all understood. Now so this I put it here for a better understanding, but still I don't think you need to know about it. But know that the DNA is a biomolecule. It is made up of nucleotides. So on the both side of the DNA, and you all know that DNA is a double-stranded structure. So both sides are made up of nucleotides. Inside we have four bases. So these nucleotides, right, on both sides we have nucleotides, right? Those are called backbone of the DNA, and those are simple sugars only. And inside we have four bases. So irrespective of any animals, you can find these four bases arranged in a different sequences. Okay, so it depends upon the animal. So but anyways, you don't have to know about that. Let's just stick with this part alone. So now we have learned what is a gene, right? So we know where gene is located, and from how parent, how the chromosomes are being passed down. So with the human example, we have already seen. So we know that gene is a unit of hereditary information, which means it gets information from the parents, and it will transmit the genetic information from the parent to the child. So and also we know they are made up of DNA. So certain portions or segments of the DNA or gene that code for specific trait, and also they are very complex because they are a biomolecule, and it is made up of nucleotides, which we have just seen, and they just code this genetic information from the parents, obtain the genetic information and codes those genetic information and transmit these traits to the child, right? So then what is allele? Then what are allele, you might even ask. So allele also, just like genes, they also code for the specific traits. Okay, they are genetic sequence of the alleles are also genetic sequence, and they too code for the transmission of traits, which means like genes, the alleles also code for traits that the child or offspring inherited from the parents. So then what is the difference between a gene and allele, you might even ask me. So let me just give you a simple explanation. The difference between allele and genes, allele is a slight variant form of a gene. So before that, let me just give you an example. So if you take a chromosome, so it is a homologous chromosome, which means a pair of homologous chromosome. So let's just say this one is from the mother and this one is from the father. Okay, so remember, through meiosis we get 23 and during fertilization 23 chromosomes will merge and form 46 chromosome or 23 pairs of chromosomes. So here we have a pair of homologous chromosome, which means it is same. But however, and as I told you, in a chromosomes, a specific portion or a segment will code for specific trait is what we call gene. So the place where the gene is located, what we call locus. Okay, say for example here, this region is what we call locus. So here, from the father as well as from the mother, both this two is what we call, say let's just say this this color, yellow color, is a same type of gene that code for hair color. Okay, so that code for hair color. So this two same color, right, it is located in a specific place which we call locus, and these two genes, right, one is from the father and mother, both genes are responsible for the hair color, they code for the hair color, but they will also have a slightly variant form, is what we call allele here. So here we have capital G and small g. Let's just say this capital G is brown color, and let's just say the small g is black color. So these two are alleles. So in a homologous chromosomes, in a specific location, same type of genes will be there, but inside in the genes we'll have different types of alleles. Okay, say for example here we have capital G, cap, capital G, capital G and small g. As I told you, capital G code for brown color, small g code for black color. So then this type of allele is what we call heterozygote. So if it has both capital G, then we can call it as homozygote allele. Okay, so same இருந்துச்சுன்னா homozygote, வேற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா heterozygote allele. Okay, ஸோ ஒரு ஜீனுன்னா ஒரு ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் லொக்கேஷனில் இருக்கும், அந்த ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் லொக்கேஷனில் பேரண்ட் ஒரு போத் பேரண்ட் ஃபாதர் அண்ட் மதர் கிட்ட இருந்து சேம் டைப் ஆஃப் ஜீன் இருக்கும், பட் அதுக்குள்ளே இருக்கிற ஆலில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it might even be the same, ஒரே மாதிரியாவும் இருக்கலாம். ஒரே மாதிரியா இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம ஹோமோசைகோட் allele என்றோம். வேற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா ரெண்டும் வேற வேற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா we can call it as heterozygote allele. So this is the difference between gene and allele. In simple, in a same type of gene we'll have two pairs of different alleles or same type of alleles. Okay, I hope you guys understood. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. For better understanding, I just want to give you guys a simple exercise here, or example here. Let's consider this is a homologous chromosome. As I told you, this one is from the father and this one is from the mother. So let's say this portion, right, this particular portion is the same type of gene from the father and mother that codes for eye color. Okay, so we'll put I here. So capital S means, let's just say blue color. Small s means, let's just say brown color. Okay, so don't get confused. So capital S means blue color and small s means brown color here. Okay, so as I told you, in a chromosome we'll have a specific location. In the specific location, what we call locus. So in the specific location, specific type of gene will be there that will be coding for the specific trait. So here this portion, this particular portion codes for eye color. So as I told you, capital S means blue and small s means brown. So in our case we have capital S, the S is the dominant character. So what will happen? The child will have blue color. So if we have uh, uh, these two different alleles which are different means, then we can call it as heterozygotes. So since S is dominant, we'll get blue color. Likewise, if both both alleles are the same, say for example capital S and capital S, and both will be in blue color, then the child will definitely be blue. So such kind of allele is what we call homozygotes allele. So this is the difference between genes and allele. In simple, genes and alleles one and the same. The only difference is allele is the slight variant form of the gene. So in a parent we will inherit same type of genes. Say for example, this portion codes for the this specific genes codes for the eye color, but we'll have two alleles, either that will be homozygotes, same type of alleles, or different type of alleles, heterozygotes. I hope you guys understood. If you still have any doubts, you can contact me. Take care, guys.